We are at peak The Last of Us right now because of one scene, Ellie confronting Nora in episode 5, that sets us firmly back on the path to being a story about revenge and not a tragedy. And this fixes completely the structural reason people have been struggling with season 2 so far, because it framed the trauma of Joel's demise in terms of tragedy and not as the foundation for revenge. Tragic characters all have a flaw, like Joel's love for Ellie, that leads to an unforeseen consequence, like the confrontation Joel has with Abby. And we watch these tragedies from an aesthetic distance. We get a buffer from the traumatic thing that occurs, and we feel our emotions swell up. In Revenge, you're too close to the traumatic thing, and it's obscene to try to put an aesthetic lens onto it. You can't turn a revenge tale into a tragedy. It just doesn't work. And so that's the problem the show has had. And it's the buffer of tragedy that allowed episode 4 to feel like a romp through Seattle without any of the pain and suffering weighing down the reason why they're there in the first place. Now, in the creator commentary, you'll keep hearing Neil Druckmann refer to the tension between justice and revenge as what The Last of Us 2 is all about. But we have to be really clear about what these two terms mean, and it gets muddled when they talk about it. Justice and revenge both rectify a wrong that's been done. It's not simply a matter of revenge being bad and justice good. The tension is actually trying to disavow the way in which revenge does rectify that wrong too, but it does so with a different direction. Justice is moral and revenge is immoral, but justice fixes the wrong for society, for the world around us. Revenge fixes things just for your own subjective stance, for who you are as a person. So when you watch a revenge tale, which is what The Last of Us 2 is, you see a person giving up who they are for society in order to get their revenge. And that's like just a very common, the core of what a revenge tale is. And that's what makes it ethical. It is ethical to give up who you are, to give up the most precious part of who you are to get the thing that you cling to, the thing you need to get done above all else. And what's both interesting and traumatic about that is you don't know who you're going to be on the other side, and you don't know if what you give up is going to be worth it anymore, if you'll change and become a monster in your quest for revenge. And that's what The Last of Us 2 does uniquely well and to a radical point. So we finally get our feet firmly set on the path to revenge by confronting Nora. And I love how that scene was played. Even though it's very close to the game, we aren't simply like chasing things down a video game corridor. We see Nora's physicality and resistance throughout the whole thing. And when she's suffering at the end, we see her persisting through that suffering just very powerfully. And in the face of Nora's resistance, we get Ellie asserting that she knew what Joel did, that she clings to it as well. And we get a support also from Dina, who said had her family done the person who hurt them wrong, she would nevertheless continue to pursue them to the ends of the earth too. Revenge tales are rightly dismissed as conservative works of fiction that give you clear bad guys, clear wrongs to right outside of the bounds of society, the power fantasy of overcoming things and getting your bad guy vanquished, etc. But The Last of Us 2 is a radical revenge tale. It pursues the consequences of pursuing this revenge to their full point, to the point of both giving yourself up, giving up who you are, as I already mentioned, but also seeing who you are on the other side of that. Now, we also note there is another way out of the revenge tale, and that is to turn the other cheek, which is what happened with the Seraphite in the last episode that I talked about, who extended his other arm to be hurt. Turning the other cheek like that forces the other person to acknowledge you as a fellow person, a subject, and not an enemy. It breaks the cycle. So we will see as things progress where this revenge tale takes us, but we are now in the territory we needed to be in the first place. So I'm really glad we're back to seeing things through. If this clear sense of what fiction does appeals to you, go to my profile, check out my literary apocalypse where we've made it dark. Also has zombies.